The growth of China's economy has been slowing down, but by exactly how much? Well, that's the question driving the debate over the accuracy of China's GDP growth figures. Bank of America is the latest to weigh in, defending the official figure of 7.6%. But economists at several other banks remain skeptical. Let's get all the details from CCTV's Liling Tan. Liling.
Yes, Michelle, Bank of America appears to be taking a different position on the trustworthiness of the official GDP data, deviating from Barclays and Mizuho economists who say the numbers might be overstated. The issue is the reliability of the Chinese government's data and how much it can be counted upon to gauge where the country's economy is headed. Let's take a look.
China, the world's second largest economy, reported a 7.6% GDP growth for the second quarter. But that number might actually be a few percentage points lower, say some economists. Like as much as 0.5% lower, according to Barclays economists in Hong Kong, who are going by industrial production growth. And Mizuho's chief Asia economist Shen Jianguang said slowdowns in industrial and electricity production contradict Chinese government figures. In an email to Bloomberg, he said actual growth is around 7%. Bank of America's Hong Kong-based economist Liu Ting, however, disagreed in a report earlier this month. While acknowledging that China's data quality is still an issue, Liu said factors relating to other economic data suggest the numbers make sense, Bloomberg reported. Bank of America declined an interview with CCTV in New York. But Professor Joseph Foudy of NYU Stern agrees with Bank of America's assessment, saying China's GDP data is reliable. He says economists' differing views need to be put into context because they're still indicative of strong growth compared with other national economies.
It's a question of, is China growing at 7.25% versus 8% or so? And it's an opaque process. China doesn't release as much data as other countries, and so there's always going to be a lot of debate.
And markets are watching to see how China is holding up and how it can continue growing despite the global economic uncertainty. With Europe's debt crisis deepening and questions over the strength of the U.S. economic recovery, any weakness coming from China could be really damaging for the rest of the world. Michelle, back to you.
Well, Liling, China has been working towards greater transparency and accuracy in reporting its official figures. So what has the Chinese government been doing to persuade private sector economists that China's GDP data is, in fact, reliable?
Well, Michelle, for the first quarter of the year, China put out its first beige book, a private survey on the economic conditions in the People's Republic of China, and that's similar to the one published by the U.S. Federal Reserve Bank. China's beige book cites interviews with some 2,000 company executives and bankers, and also to further bolster confidence, it's hired foreign auditors in some cases. Now, however, without more transparency, many private economists remain cautious in their interpretation of China's GDP data. Michelle?
All right, thanks very much. Liling Tan, live for us in New York.